Hey guys, it's Lauren. Welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about 10 drugstore products that nobody talks about anymore. And I don't know why, because all of these things are such good things, but I think we just get overwhelmed with all the new releases that we forget all these good products that we used to use and used to love. Every time I reach into my vanity and pull out each one of these things, I think to myself, like, why doesn't anybody talk about this anymore? This was so good. So this is just a collection of, shall we say, forgotten favorites or old favorites, or, you know, just products that people don't talk about anymore. A lot of these things were really hyped up back in the day, but they're just not talked about as much as they should be. So I thought it'd be fun to just chat about some old favorites. So I have a blush and highlight palette that is just so good, and it's like $8. I can't even get over it. And then some lipsticks that are super creamy and have the best nude range. And what else? And a foundation that's so good. It has the best high coverage ever. If you like a full glam look, you would love this foundation. And yeah, just lots of good things. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so let's first talk about this amazing foundation. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This came out a few years ago, and Tati here on YouTube raved about this, and I really trust her. She gives awesome reviews. So of course I went ahead and bought it, and I was just so amazed by the coverage of this. It is like, when you apply it, it's at first initially kind of thick, but it just spreads in really nice and evenly, and it covers every dark spot on my face. As I've aged, I've definitely noticed more age spots and just more sunspots that are really hard to cover. So I always look for a high coverage foundation, and usually I find that I don't really get enough coverage from drugstore foundations, but this is the one exception. So you'll notice in the try on that I have this dark spot on the right side of my face, and literally the instant I apply this, it's covered. It's really amazing. I find that I need much less concealer when I wear this. The coverage is matte with a slight satin finish to it, so it looks like nice matte and velvety, but it does have a slight sheen to it, so it looks like your skin. The coverage is amazing. Just keep in mind, you'll notice when you compare my neck to my face in this try-on that it is slightly darker. This can oxidize, so keep that in mind. Definitely go a shade lighter than you think you'd be, because this can show up a little darker, but you'll love the coverage of this, especially if you like a glam full coverage look. You'll love this. Just to keep in mind, make sure your skin is nice and prepped and moisturized, because this can look cakey and heavy really quickly. So, but as long as you're moisturized, it looks beautiful. My skin is super dry, so for it to look decent on my dry skin, it's a good foundation, because I really do get those dry patches that show up underneath foundation. My foundation can start to break up through the day. So for this to be as full coverage as it is and still look skin-like, it's really amazing. So yeah, I just love this foundation so much. It's such a good buy. It's a great buy at the drugstore. I want to say it's like $8, and this has kind of like a light floral scent to it, which I really enjoy. If you like the Tarte Shape Tape smell, you will love this. But of course, if your skin is sensitive and if you don't enjoy fragrance and products, you might not like this, but I don't mind the smell. I actually think it smells really good. So yeah, this is just a great foundation all around. The coverage is just amazing for a drugstore foundation. So I can't believe people don't talk about this anymore. We have to bring this back. So yeah, Milani Conceal and Perfect. So good. And the next product that definitely should get more love is the Wet n Wild Photofocus Press Powder. This powder makes your skin just look like velvet. It gives such a nice matte finish, but not too matte to where your foundation looks heavy and makeup-y. I just love the look of this. Especially if you have dry skin, I think you would really enjoy this. So this powder is baked, which I find works really well, especially with my dry skin, because you don't get a ton of fallout from this. I feel like for me, I can go overboard really quickly when it comes to powder, and then my makeup just looks way too makeup-y and heavy. But this just gives like a nice veil of smooth powder on your face. It just looks so pretty, and yeah, it just looks really smooth. And I think they got the name on point because it's called Photofocus, and it really does make your skin look almost like you have a filter on it. It's just such a pretty powder. I think it's a great buy. I think it's like $5. So yeah, I just really enjoy this. It's really lightweight too. It wears nicely throughout the day. I would tell you what shade I had if it's actually on the back of here, but it's not. But I think I picked up the fair shade, and it blends into your skin really nicely. So I really feel like you can't go wrong with whatever shade you pick up. All around, the shade is really adaptable. So yeah, this is just a great powder. I definitely don't think it's talked about enough. So definitely get your hands on this. Alright, next up is a bronzer that deserves way more love than it gets. This is pretty popular on Instagram because I think it photographs really pretty. It has this nice embossing in it, but people don't talk about this on YouTube nearly enough. It's so great. But this is the No. 7 caramel bronzer. This is the shade Caramel. There's 3 shades in this. This is their medium shade, I believe. But this bronzer just works so well. It blends so nicely. It goes on so smooth. It never looks patchy or muddy. This color Caramel is just right on point for my skin tone. It's not too warm toned. It's not too cool toned. I find that I can contour with it or just do like an all over bronze color with it. It's matte, but yeah, I guess it does have a slight sheen to it. I wouldn't call it completely matte, but it doesn't have any glitter particles or anything like that, just like a pretty glowy sheen. So yeah, it just looks really nice and natural. I'm wearing it today. I contoured with it just around my face and on my jawline. I put a little bit on my chest. Just a really pretty, nice, natural bronzer. This definitely does not get enough love. Alright, next up is a primer by e.l.f. They have a lot of different versions of this, but this is just their original mineral face primer. This is an amazing dupe for the Smashbox. What is it called? Is it the Photofocus primer? It's the silicone primer that they have in the black and clear packaging. It's the exact same thing. It basically just contains silicone as the main ingredient, but it glides under your skin so nicely. You get instant blurring effect onto your pores. Your pores just look completely invisible, and my foundation slides so nicely over this. If you have oily skin, I don't necessarily think you may enjoy this because of the amount of silicone this contains. Silicone can clog pores in really oily skins, but I do tend to get oily in my T-zone, and I never feel like this has ever broken me out or clogged my pores. So I don't know, for the price, you might want to give it a go. It's only, I think it's $5.99, so such a great buy for a great primer. I just really, really enjoy this. Alright, next up is a face palette by e.l.f. This is their Beautifully Bare Total Face Palette. This has 2 blush shades in here and a highlight. I'll do a close-up of this, but the highlight shade is kind of like a champagne highlight. And then you have 2 peach blushes and then a bronze contour shade in here. They're just such a pretty, nice, peachy blush. It just gives that like natural glow to your cheeks. And then the highlight is so gorgeous. It's definitely a dupe for Mary Luminizer. Just that pretty champagne highlight. You can go subtle with it. You can build it up for like a glam highlight. So I really enjoy this palette. This is $8, so such a great buy. This got mentioned in my favorite palette video. Even for being drugstore, this is just such a great palette. The powders do have a lot of fallout, so if that bothers you that you might not necessarily enjoy this, but I find that it doesn't hinder the creaminess of the product. So you get a ton of powder that falls out, but as soon as you apply it, they go on super smooth and they feel creamy on the face, and they don't look patchy the way a lot of powdery products can feel. So they're just really creamy. And yeah, I've really, really enjoyed this. I get a ton of use out of this. This is just such a great buy, and people definitely have to talk about this more. It does not get enough love. Since we're on the subject of blushes, let's chat about this Essence Satin Touch Blush. This is in the shade Satin Coral. This is another product that I feel is big on Instagram because, again, it photographs pretty. Well, mine doesn't have the nice pretty embossing anymore because I use it so much, but not only does it look pretty in the pan, it shows up so beautifully on the cheeks. It gives a nice glow to the cheeks, and in the pan it looks like it's matte, but it's almost sheer, but it gives a pretty glow without having glitter flecks. You don't get any glitter fallout or anything. It's just like a nice glow to your cheeks. I think the Essence blushes are one of the best performing blushes in the drugstore, and they're probably the cheapest. They're only $2.99. I think this comes in 2 shades. This is the peachy one, and then I think they have a pink one, but I like this because it just looks like a natural color. I love this so, so much, and yeah, it doesn't get enough love here on YouTube. Like I said, you see it on Instagram, but it needs more love here on YouTube because it's so good. Alright, so let's chat about brows. So the NYX brow products get a ton of love, specifically their Micro Brow, and a lot of people like their pomade. But I feel this one in particular, this is their Precision Brow Pencil, does not get enough love. My favorite part about this pencil, first of all, the shade just matches my brows so perfectly. This is the shade Ash Brown. I find that this would match a ton of different brows. Even when I go from like a lighter to a darker hair color, it still matches my cool toned brows. So I really like that. And my favorite part about this pencil is the tip. So it almost has a square tip to it, which when I first got it, I'm like, is this gonna work for me? But it actually allows for you to sculpt your brows really nicely and really easily because you can kind of like curve it up and then curve it down for a nice arch. So yeah, it just is a huge time saver. I love this pencil. It lasts a long time. It's definitely due for, I'm totally blanking of the Benefit eye pencil right now, what that one's called. The Gimme Brow, is that what it's called? But yeah, that pencil is also a thicker pencil. but it's also narrow enough to allow you to draw on itty bitty brow hairs. So yeah, I really like this brow pencil. I find that you really don't need a pomade with this. You can work this up to a darker color, and it's just really nice and makes your brows look really natural. It's a time saver. And if you like the micro brow, which I do as well, definitely try this out. I just find that the micro brow and the brow wiz just take a little longer to work with. I like those when I'm trying to be really precise with my brows, but if I'm in a pinch, this is definitely my go-to. This is just such a great brow product. Alright, now on to setting sprays. Since we're talking about NYX, I figured we'll talk about this next. This is their Matte Finish Long Lasting Setting Spray. If you like Urban Decay setting sprays, you will love this. So it has a really nice fine spray like the Urban Decay one does, and I find that when you spray this onto your face, it just melts your makeup together where it takes away any like dry patches and any cakiness, but it still sets your makeup to a matte finish, so it just works so nicely. It really makes my makeup last. It does contain alcohol in it, but I find that it's not really drying. Like I said, it does take away my dry patches, so that doesn't really bother me. It must not have much in it, but a lot of setting sprays need alcohol to allow them to evaporate, so don't let that scare you. I know if you have sensitive skin, it might bother your skin, but just to keep that in mind that it does have alcohol in it. But all in all, this is a really great setting spray. Alright, on to lip products. So I'm wearing this today. This is the NYX, another NYX product. I apparently like them a lot. This is the NYX Retractable Lip Liner. This is in the shade Nude. So these were huge a few years ago, but I just find that they have just gone away. Nobody talks about them anymore. So this is a retractable liner, which often I don't really like lip liners that are retractable. I find that the formula can almost be too creamy and you can't get a fine point. So I find that sometimes they can bleed into the lines, but this is just creamy enough where you're going to get the pigment onto your lips, but it's long lasting and it doesn't budge. It just stays in place, it doesn't bleed into your lines, it lasts a long time, and this color is amazing. I find that it adapts to so many different lipstick tones, and my favorite thing about this is just the lasting power. It just lasts so long for being a drugstore lip liner, and I love that I don't have to sharpen it and I still get precise application with it. So yeah, these are great lip liners. Alright, and last but not least, let's talk about lip products. So these definitely don't get enough love. If you like nude lips, you will love this line. This is the Soap & Glory Sexy Mother Pucker Lipsticks. They contain shea butter in them, so they're super creamy and super hydrating, and they just have so many great nudes in this line. I especially love these two. So the first one I have is Naked Talent. It's almost like a peachy cream sheen. It has a pretty sheen to it, and it's not too light where it gives some dimension to your lips. I just love this shade. I have this on my lips with the second shade over top of it, and the second shade is called Nude Edition. So again, it's a peachy nude, but this is going to be your lighter peachy nude. They also have some pinker tones in the line. It's just so many pretty shades in this line. Like I said, if you're a nude lip fan like I am, you will love these lipsticks. There's no surprises with these. They fade beautifully. You don't end up with that I just ate a powdered donut look around your lips. You know how you get that white line in the center of your lips? Oh my gosh, I hate that so much. But these just fade nicely into your lips. They're not the most longest lasting, but like I said, when they do fade, they fade nicely. It's just a gradual fade. So, and if you're into Charlotte Tilbury, I mentioned this in my dupes video, the shade Naked Talent is a spot on dupe for her shade, oh gosh, what's it called now? Oh, Super Cindy. It's the same peachy nude shade, so pretty. It's a spot on dupe. So yeah, definitely if you like her shades, you'll like this line. So yeah, I just love these lipsticks, and again, these need more love. So that's all the products I have for you today. This was really fun. Let me know down below if there's any products that you guys feel like deserve more love. I don't know why, but I get like nervous and panicky that if these products aren't talked about, they're going to be discontinued. So definitely share your love of the products that you love and enjoy, and yeah, I'd love to hear about them. I love chatting about makeup, and if you guys are into makeup, definitely check out my Instagram page. I post daily photos of makeup that I'm wearing, new products that I pick up, I share some reviews. It's just a fun place to just chat about makeup, so definitely check me out on there. I'd love to connect with you guys, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. See you guys.